Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to History Online class. Today let us discuss the Vijayanagara Empire. In the medieval India, especially in the southern part of India, a great kingdom was established and they ruled from 1336 to 46, and that is 1565 was the end of the great empire. But still, how this kingdom established? Who are the power behind the establishment of this kingdom? What were the contribution of this Vijayanagara empire, and on what basis, with what mission they established this empire? So all this to be discussed, and that is Vijayanagara empire. They ruled whole South India, and the foundation, even what was the importance of this kingdom? That is the protection of religion and Hindu culture was the main aim of establishing Vijayanagara empire. And the Vijayanagara empire was established by or founded by the Sangam brothers. The four Sangam brothers, that is Arihara, Bukka, Kampana, Marappa and Muddappa. So these four great youngsters, among them, that is Arihara and Bukka, they established this kingdom. That's why in the first, what we call the Sangam dynasty. And this Vijayanagara empire, not only a rule of a single dynasty, it was the rule of four important dynasty. That is the first one, Sangama dynasty. They ruled from 1336 to 1485 common era. They were followed by Saluva dynasty. They ruled from 1485 to 1505. And later Saluva was followed by Tuluva dynasty 1505 to 1570, and last dynasty, Arabidu dynasty, they ruled from 1571 to 1646. In this way, the four dynasties, they ruled Vijayanagara empire, and their royal emblem was Varaha. Varaha is the royal emblem of Vijayanagara empire, and their royal deity was Virupaksha. Virupaksha. Hampi Virupaksha. So the Hampi was the capital of Vijayanagara empire, and earlier their capital was Anegundi. Gundi in Ballari district, Hospet Taluk, Anegundi. and later it was Hampi. And this was the capital and there's political background. And who are these Harihara or the Sangam brothers? It is said that they were the officials. These people were the officials. They worked under, the Tamil ruler and what we call the Prataparudra Deva of, Kakatiya king, and they founded this kingdom against Delhi Sultanate. So and another version says that this Harihara and Bukka, they belong to, or Sangam brothers, they belong to, Sangam, they were the relative of Kampli ruler, whatever it may be. They established the empire. So then, what was the political history of this Vijayanagara empire? What was their achievement? As I said, these 4 dynasties, they ruled, and among them, there are various rulers, but we are bothering about only Krishnadevaraya because he was the greatest ruler among the Vijayanagara empire, and he ruled from 1509 to 1529. And this Krishnadevaraya was a greatest king. He belonged to Tuluva kingdom. He belonged to Tuluva kingdom, the 3rd kingdom. And he was a great king among the South Indian kings. And let us see the achievement of Krishnadevaraya. What was the achievement of Krishnadevaraya? The first of all, War of 1510. Krishnadevaraya fought a war in 1510. He defeated Sultan Yusuf Adil Shah of Bijapur. In this battle, he defeated Yusuf Adil Shah of Bijapur and Sultan Muhammad Sahil of Bidar. So both of them were defeated in 1510, and later even Krishnadevaraya, he captured Tungabhadra Doab, then Tungabhadra and that Doab region, and he also captured Raichur fort, and later he seized Ummattur, siege of Ummattur. Siege of Ummattur, that is in 1513. That is Gangaraja of Ummattur. He revolted against Krishnadevaraya. That's why Krishnadevaraya, he successfully suppressed the revolt and he captured, Krishnadevaraya captured some important area, that is Shivana Samudra. That is Shivana Samudra and Srirangapatna. Shivana Samudra and Srirangapatna. Srirangapatna and Shivana Samudra, they were captured by him, and later One more important thing, that is the establishment of peace. Establishment of peace. That is in Ceylon, because there was a revolt, and that revolt was suppressed by Krishnadevaraya, and he placed Bhuvanaikkya Malla or Bhuvanaikkya Bahu on the throne of Sri Lanka, and that is why he could be able to get some importance in this area. And one more thing we have to see, later all these developments what we can note of Vijayanagara Empire, but ultimately this great Vijayanagara Empire came to an end after the battle of even Talikota. That is the battle of Talikota. Why the battle of Talikota was fought? That's very important to note, why this battle was fought and what was the causes behind the battle. That is battle of Talikota. It is also known as battle of Rakkasatangadi, because this battle was fought between the two villages Rakkasagi and Tangadagi. So that is why this came to be known as Rakkasatangadi. That is Rakkasatangadi or battle of Talikote. Well, this is one of the decisive battle fought between Aliya Ramaraya and Shahi rulers, that is Adil Shahis of Bijapur, Nizam Shahis of Ahmednagar, Qutub Shahis of Golconda, and Barid Shahis of Bidar and Aliya Ramaraya. Between them this war was fought, because these Shahi rulers, they never tolerated the existence of Vijayanagara Empire, and vice versa. Even Vijayanagara Empire was always quarrel with the Shahi Empire. So now the battle was inevitable because of Aliya Ramaraya. Aliya Ramaraya was a husband of the daughter of Krishnadevaraya, or Krishnadevaraya gave his daughter to Aliya Ramaraya. That's why he came to be called as Aliya Ramaraya. He belonged to Aravidu dynasty, Aliya Ramaraya. Well, let us discuss the causes. What are the causes for the battle of Talikota? So there will be a question. The causes for the battle of Talikota. The first cause, supremacy over Doab. Mercy over Doab region. that is Krishna and Tungabhadra. Second one, religious difference. Third one, policy of Aliya Rama Raya. Fourth one, demands of or immediate cause. Let us see the immediate cause. So these are all the causes. The first cause, supremacy over Doab region, that is Krishna and Tungabhadra Doab. This is a very rich area, and on this area, this on the one side Vijayanagara Empire, that is Aliya Rama Raya, wanted to control this region, and on the other side the sultans also tried to get the control over the Krishna Tungabhadra Doab. That's why the war took place. And second important cause, religious cause. Because Vijayanagara Empire, they propagated Hinduism. On the other side, sultans, they propagated Islam. So because of these differences, they continued their enmity. That also led to battle, that is the religious difference. And thirdly, policy of Aliya Rama Raya. This Aliya Rama Raya, more often than not, involved in the internal affairs of the Muslim states. Whatever the problem arised in the Muslim state, Aliya Rama Raya, without any reason, he involved. He poked his dirty nose. So that is why they never tolerated, and that became another reason. And fourthly, demand or immediate cause. What is the immediate cause? These Adil Shahis, they demanded return of Raichur, which was captured by Vijayanagara Empire. But Aliya Rama Raya, he never agreed to return this Raichur. That led to the battle. Ultimately, that led to battle. In this battle, what happened? Ultimately, they defeated Aliya Rama Raya. The combined forces of these Adil Shahis, Nizam Shahis, Qutub Shahis and Bharit Shahis completely defeated Aliya Rama Raya, and he was beheaded. So this was the great end of Vijayanagara Empire. Robert Saville, he wrote in his book Forgotten Empire, because such a glorious empire came to an end, and this empire plundered by these Muslim rulers or sultans for a long time, and glory of Vijayanagara that ultimately demised and laid under the ground. So in this way, what was the results of the war? No, defeat, of course. Vijayanagara completely defeated. And what was the result? Results. That is, Vijayanagara Empire lost its glory. Vijayanagara Empire lost its glory. And secondly, Portuguese restricted to Goa. Third Thirdly, religious endowments stopped to Sringeri, Srishaila, and Tirupati. Fourthly, feudatories of Vijayanagara Empire became independent. What happened? The results, because a long cherished glory of Vijayanagara Empire, which came to an end after the battle of Rakasa Tangadi. And secondly, religious, Portuguese restricted to Goa. Earlier, Portuguese, they also worked in the area of Vijayanagara Empire because they supported Portuguese. Now, because of the defeat of Vijayanagara, there was no support to Portuguese. They were not able to come to Vijayanagara Empire. They restricted to Goa only. And then, since these came under the control of sultans, they stopped now the religious donations to Sringeri, Srishaila and Tirupati. And lastly, after the demise of Vijayanagara Empire, their feudatories, that is Nayakas and even other chieftains, they declared independence and they also established their small kingdom and they become the chieftains. So in this way, politically, they completely demised, and that can be seen, even though it was a long cherished one, they came to an end. Yes, coming to the cultural contribution of Vijayanagara Empire. After their political contribution, we have to look up the cultural contribution. What contribution they have made for the different field. That is administrative contribution. The Vijayanagara Empire had a very strong administrative system and a very strong central government. And this central government means, or central administration, king was the head of the state and he was in the apex of the state, and he had all the powers, or he was head of all the departments, all the fields. He was the head. And kingship, which was hereditary, after a king his son becomes king. So this is the hereditary system. And during the period of lifetime of a king, Yuvaraja will be appointed, the next king. He will be appointed by king himself, and in order to assist the king, there is a council of ministers, a group of ministers. As you know, responsibility of a state cannot be handled by a single person, but it needs a support of ministers or a team of officials. So here they had the council of ministers to assist the king, that is Mahapradhani. Mahapradhani or prime minister is the chief minister. And the second one, Dandanayaka. Dandanayaka means commander-in-chief of the army. King is the top, and below to king, military was under the control of Dandanayaka. And third one, Maha Samantadipati. Mahasamantadipati or Ministry of Feudatories. In order to look after feudatories, there is a separate minister, is called Samantadipati. And fourthly, Raya Bhandari is another important in the Department of Finance or Royal Treasury, what we call present sense Finance Minister. So, Raya Bhandari. Fifthly, Sabhanayaka or leader of the council. Today also in the assembly we have speaker is the president of the assembly. Likewise, there was a president or a leader of council, that is Sabhanayaka. And the sixth one, Maha Sandhi Vigrahi, means foreign minister. He will decide Sandhi or what comes, agreement, or Vigrahi means the war. He will decide all these things. That is the foreign ministers. Apart from this, even it had spy system for the purpose of smooth running of a government or an administration. There we need a spy system, espionage system. So that was also systematically organized by Vijayanagara Empire. So this is about the central government, and this central government or the whole empire divided into various provincials or provinces. And there is two types of provinces. That is, one, it was directly, which was under the control of a king, and another one which were under the control of feudatories, means which were indirectly under the control of a king. The first one, a land which was directly controlled by him. Second one, a land which was, or province which was directly controlled by provincial head and indirectly controlled by king. So that is the two types of lands or provincials, and each provinces looked after by Nayakas. And this Nayaka, he looked after this provincial administration, peace and order, revenue collection, military affairs, civil administration, all this will be looked after by Nayakas. So this is called Nayankara system. So there will be a question, what is meant by Nayankara system? Nayankara system is a system introduced during the period of Vijayanagara Empire, where whole empire divided into provinces, and that provinces were looked after by Nayakas. So this is what, and these Nayakas, they used to pay annual tribute to the king. Annual tribute to the king. And then, apart from this provincial administration, we have village administration. Village level administration. Village is the smallest unit of administration under Vijayanagara Empire, and this was looked after by assembly or village assembly headed by Gauda. Gauda is the head of the village, Grama Gauda, and it was looked after by Gauda, and he used to collect the taxes in the village level also. Coming to the revenue administration, revenue which was collected by various officials in the various level, and as I said, in the province Nayakas and in the village Gaudas, they used to collect the tax. But then, what was the proportion? 1/6 of the total production is considered as the state tax. It was considered as the state tax. So they used to collect these important taxes. Apart from this, even other taxes were also collected. and education and literature. Military. Even they possessed a strong military under Vijayanagara Empire. Their military power was very strong. Army was divided into elephant force, cavalry, infantry, and these forces, they were the source of strength of Vijayanagara Empire, and they used to procure Arabian horses from Portuguese, and even force played very important role in the warfare. So all these things which were very systematically organized under Vijayanagara Empire. The other contributions, for example, social, economic, religious, literature, education, art and architecture, let us see in the next class. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.